I think you all can see my slide now. Welcome to our webinar this Friday afternoon. I hope everyone's doing well. Today we're going to be talking about how to set a mobile app budget for 2016. We came up with this webinar because we've been having a lot of questions from our customers. It's Q1 for 2016, and we have quite a few sectors that are interested in developing a mobile app. And of course, the first question that always comes to mind is how much will it cost and how do I set a budget for that? So in order to help, we have come up with this webinar that will give you a general idea of what you can expect to spend for mobile app development in 2016. All right, so here is our outline. We've got an intro. We're going to talk about why, the process for development, and then we're going to go into budgets by industries and then give you an overall budgeting grid. We have some questions and answers at the end, and we will go and get started. All right, everybody else is good here. So your presenters today, it's myself, Jeffrey. I'm the Digital Marketing Manager at Enopal, and we will have Kumran be joining us on the call later on. He is our Senior Project and Mobile Manager here at the company. A little bit about us. We are Enopal. Enopal stands for Innovation Plus People. We are more than a development partner. We help our customers from the start of the cycle to the end of the cycle with mobile apps, e-commerce, websites, and all the above, to make sure that they get a total package solution for their business needs. Here are some of the clients that we've worked with. Some big names, some small names, but if you notice here, we've done quite a bit in healthcare, we've done quite a bit of manufacturing, and we've done quite a bit in government and retail. We like those industries a lot. They're actually all very much growing industries, and they're a lot of fun to create mobile solutions and web solutions and CRM solutions for. So that's definitely our wheelhouse, are those. Okay, so the big question that we always ask our customers is, why do you want to build an app? You know, it's in the grand scheme of things, building an app, it's not easy. It can take quite a bit of time, and more often than not, your ROI might not be what it expects. So we always encourage our customers when they come to us with a budget or an idea to just really sit down and wonder, why are you doing this? And all the things that you could be investing your business dollars in. An app is very expensive in the grand scheme of things and can be time consuming. So we always ask our customers, well, what is your reason? What is it? And we have actually gotten all of these reasons before. These are some bad reasons of why you want to build an app. One, because your competitor made an app. That's a terrible reason. Because we're trying to remain relevant. Another horrible reason. Because we should, because it will make us rich, because of fear of missing out on app envy. These are all bad reasons for making an app. We've had several customers come to us with each one of these, and we kindly encourage them and consult them to maybe think about something else or to come back with us with some better reasons. Some great reasons for building an app are business reasons. For example, you want to build an app because it'll increase your efficiency by 5%, which is a cost savings of X, Y, and Z, or because it will allow our field agents to be dispatched quickly and more accurately, and all the above. So these are good reasons to build an app. If you have a business case or a business problem that you think an app can solve, and because of that you can allocate more resources or save money, that's why you should build an app. Also, finding a partner. When you decide that you want to build an app and you have a good reason why, the idea of finding a partner also is very costly. This whole process to get just to the first stage does cost you time and it does cost you money. For example, here's our overall slide that we share with our customers of the cost to find an app development partner. Say, for example, you have a fictional CMO. We deal a lot with CMOs and IT professionals here. And let's talk about this fictional CMO. She makes around $130,000 a year. She works about 50 hours a week and makes roughly, I guess, when it's all said and done, $50 an hour. Now, let's say her CEO comes to the CMO and says, hey, I want to create a business problem solving app. Go figure it out. She's going to spend around 2 hours searching on the internet, contacting friends, LinkedIn groups, et cetera, to find some good app development partners. She's then going to reach out to them, and usually that'll be around 4 hours of talking per company, from the initial call to the gathering of requirements, to all the above in the process. She's going to if she does a good job, spend at least 4 hours per company. And then, of course, you've got your team meetings, updating them on what's happening with the process. And then you've got deciding, actually, when you have the final statement of works and proposals, what do you do and who do you go with? So if you just take these rough numbers with this rough salary, you can see there that you're going to spend at least $1,650 just to get to anywhere close to developing an app. And that money and that time and that person's resource ability could have been used somewhere else. So as you develop your app or want to develop your app, ask yourself these reasons why, because you're going to take time to do it. Cool. So you got your reason why. You have your business problem and you want to solve it with your mobile app and all those wonderful things. Well, what is the process? Before we even get into the budget, you need to understand what the process is so that way you can put the budget accordingly. To us, there are two parts of the process. It's the pre-development and the development. We'd call it the pre-dev process. This is the first part, and the ideal pre-dev process goes like this. When you nail down the business goal, you wireframe, pick the platform, find a developer, get the statement of work, and then you launch development. So again, business goals. When people come to us, we again make sure that they understand that this will take time, money, and energy and resources, and make sure that you're actually solving a business problem with your mobile app idea. Otherwise, you'll have this kind of boardroom meeting where everyone thinks they should have a mobile strategy, but everybody else is engrossed in another company's mobile strategy, not paying attention to their own. Here are some other great business goals. I'm going to really dive deep into this, but here's a fictional event company. Whenever you are thinking about an app, maybe you don't need an app. Maybe you need a mobile website when it's all said and done. So what we encourage our customers to do is outline what they need to do and what can be solved. For example, this fictional event company, they want to, for their big 2016 trade show, they want to increase the number of event registrants. Well, a mobile website could do that just fine. So could a mobile app. They want to geo-target attendees with beacons. Well, a mobile website can't do that, but a mobile app can. They want to deliver push notification messages to alert attendees. Mobile websites can't do that. Mobile apps can. And the list goes on and on and on. If your mobile website can't do and solve the problems that you need it to, then yeah, it's definitely time to think about a mobile app. The next part of the process is wireframing and design. This is where you come to us and you give us the screens and the function and the flow of what you want that app to do. Simple drawings are great, but basically it tells us here's the logic behind the app and here's how it's going to solve this problem in 5 or 6 or 7 screens. After that, it's time to decide what platform you want to be on. This will be a business per business case. Some businesses really have the iOS ecosystem in place. Others have an Android system in place. Who knows? It's up to you. But overall, the worldwide trends right now, even though these numbers are from 2014, they're still pretty much the same. Android has most of the market share in the number of phones, and then followed by Apple, Windows, and apparently some BlackBerry. People are still using BlackBerry somewhere in this world. After all it's done, you've got most of the way there. Now you need to find a developer. Well, in the US, there are over 150,000 app development companies. That's a lot. They're concentrated in New York, San Francisco, Atlanta, Austin, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they all say that they're going to do the best, and they're going to be the best, and they're going to be the best to work with. That can't possibly be true. There are some fantastic app companies out there. There are some terrible app companies out there. What we tell our customers is when you're dealing with an app developer, finding a partner, these are the areas you really, really, really need to concentrate on. Number one, their development abilities. Number two, their design abilities. And number three, their communication abilities. For development abilities, it's always good to know, have they built your type of app before? Are they experts in the platform you need? Can they work with your custom APIs and custom fields and business needs? And are they a focused shop, or are they just general developers? No answer here is right or wrong. It just depends on what you want to do. Design, though, design's huge. Are you impressed with their designs? Do you have access to their UX UI team? And do their designs reflect your business needs? At the end of the day, the app could work wonderfully, but if it looks horrible, then no one's going to use it, and none of your business people will want to be on that. So it's a waste of money. Finally, communication. Here at Ennople, we get praised for our over communication, which we think is a good thing. A lot of app developer companies, they days to get back to you. So if that's not your style, you exactly how to communicate with, when, and where. Finally, budget. Now we're going to start talking about budget here briefly. To us, when you have your budget, when we're going to go over here in a moment, say that up front when you're talking to your app development company. If your budget is $60,000, say we want to stay within $60,000. Let the company come back to you with why they can't meet that budget and why they can't stay within that budget. Be flexible to some degree, of course, but don't just strictly say this is our budget and hammer it down. Say it up front. Don't mention it again. Let the developers work with you on that. After that's all said and done, you'll get something beautiful like this. It's a statement of work that outlines the what, the when, the where, and the why of the whole development process. This statement of work should include when your app will be delivered, what the timeline for that is, what the deliverables are, how much it's going to cost, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This should be an extremely thorough document. If you get a statement of work from a company and it's only 1 or 2 pages long, we would strongly recommend you not work with that company. Okay, great. So you have all that in place. Now it's time for the work. Once you start working with a company, you'll get some project managers, and here are some fantastic people from our company that you could possibly work with. You'll then be put into a management method. There's Agile versus Waterfall method. We prefer Agile here, where we develop and iterate with you in real time, so you actually get to be a part of the development process, rather than the Waterfall method, where you get everything at the end. And then finally, you get your wonderful, beautiful, user-friendly, business problem-solving final product of an app. Here's just one example of an app we created for a manufacturing company here in Atlanta called Synergy Cables. This app lets people see things in real time, see shipping rates, see availability. It's a fantastic problem-solving, wonderful business app. Cool. Now let's talk about budget. The name of this webinar was about budgeting and making sure that you have the budget for your app. So we're going to concentrate on 3 industries here and give you some other ideas later on about how much you should budget for your mobile app. The industries we're focusing on are healthcare, manufacturing, and B2B m-commerce / retail. And the reason for that is because we have been getting a lot of requests for these industries. These industries are definitely growing right now, especially with the Internet of Things, wearables, and e-commerce going bonkers. Cool. So here is our first case point example. This was a customer that came to us. We won't mention any names, but here is generically what they wanted to do. They were a healthcare company, and they wanted to create an emergency health messaging app that allowed patients to alert families and doctors alike. So if something happened, they could just open their phone, open the app, and press the button, and would alert everybody in their network to help them or that they're okay, et cetera, et cetera. With this app, they needed some SMS and email messaging. They needed an in-app registration process, in-app purchasing, and it needed to be 100% HIPAA compliant, completely secure. To us, in the healthcare industry, this was a very basic app in the grand scheme of things. We're going to talk about basic and advanced and so on and so forth. These terms are relative to the industry themselves and shouldn't be compared across industries. So for the healthcare, this was a very basic app, and they only wanted it on iOS. So we took all the specifications and we created something like looks like this. You should see something like this from whatever development partner you go with, which is a description of the need and then the hours to do it. So for example, requirements gathering would take us 10 hours. SRS for the iOS app is 12 hours. App Store submission was 6 hours, so on and so forth. So you can add all that up and you can see to make this very basic, very simple, HIPAA compliant healthcare mobile app would be about $685. And if you times that by an $80 rate, which is industry low, you're looking at least $54,000 for an app that would take around 12 weeks to generate. So for healthcare, if you're wanting to develop a single platform, HIPAA compliant healthcare app, it's probably going to cost you anywhere from $55K to $100K when it's all said and done. If you start adding on bells and whistles and other iterations, it can definitely get a lot pricier than that really, really quick. All right, the next industry, let's talk about manufacturing. There's been a huge push in manufacturing right now, the Internet of Things and connectivity with smartphones. So we've been getting a lot of requests for this type of business. Here's another customer that came to us. They were in the manufacturing space and they wanted to create a business app that allowed them to locate their parts and a certain availability in real time. That way they could speed up or slow down their production lines as needed. They needed SMS and email messaging, advanced search with voice to text, incredible geolocation features. They needed to tie into Zendesk and other integrations, and they wanted it to be for iOS and Android. To us in the manufacturing world, this was more of an advanced app for what most manufacturers do. So it was a little bit, it was a fun project. So with all those specifications, we then came up with this rough idea of what the hours would take. You can see programming there for the Android and iOS. You can see testing and project management, so on and so forth. So to make this quote unquote more advanced manufacturing app, it would take us around 732 hours. which if you do the $80 billing rate, that's $58,000 for 12 weeks. So, rough budget. If you're doing a multi-platform, somewhat complex manufacturing app, it's going to cost you anywhere from $55,000 to $120,000 to complete. Again, if you add more features and do more things with it, it's going to cost you even more. Finally, B2B, m-commerce, and retail. We call m-commerce mobile commerce. It's essentially a retail app. We have been getting quite a few of those. One of our customers came to us and they had this idea of connecting neighbors around food and events with an in-app purchasing model and registration. It's really neat. So they needed to do some complex user roles based on geolocations. They wanted a complex buy, sell, in-app purchase model. Had to exactly be geolocated to the neighborhood and the zip code. Tons of APIs and admin portal was needed. It was very, in our opinion, for an m-commerce app, very, very complex. They had a lot of bells and whistles that they wanted to do, and they wanted to reach a lot of different types of people all over the US. And they also, on top of that, they wanted it for iOS and Android. To us, this was a very complex m-commerce retail app. So you can see here, your bulk of your hours are coming with the web application and the admin portal programming. With this case in point, the iOS and Android app development wasn't nearly as much because they had a lot of back-end rules and back-end logic that they needed to achieve. So this complex retail app would come in around 1,181 hours, times that by $80, and you're looking at $94,000 for 20 weeks of development. Rough budget. A multi-platform, complex B2C m-commerce app will cost you anywhere between $60K and $140K. Finally, that brings us to this simple budgeting grid. These are the industries that we really focus on. So for healthcare, you have basic, advanced, and complex, manufacturing, B2C, and social media as well. For healthcare, your basic app's $55K, manufacturing $40K, retail 60K, and social media 80K. And the prices go up from there. Cool. So then questions and answers. We got some questions before the presentation started, and I definitely wanted to address those. This cost, there are costs, right? So the question we always get is, should I hire an internal development team or should I hire an external team, for example, our company? And that's a great question. What we always say is, if you're just doing a single business app and it's solving one or two problems that aren't customer facing and don't have a revenue generation model with it, then we would recommend that you just hire somebody else to do it, a company or a group to do your app. If, however, you have some kind of financial incentive with the app or download policy or something where that app's going to make you money, then you're probably going to need to iterate pretty quickly. So it's not a bad idea to hire internally if you have that budget. If you don't, then by all means, you need to stay with a development partner. Other questions we got were, how do I decrease the overall cost and time of the app? If you have, one of the biggest holdups that we've seen is actually design of the app. Logic and functionality and user flow and all that is pretty simple when it's all said and done. It's mapping. That's cool. What is more artistic and a little bit more touchy-feely is the design and look of the app. We always try and quote in enough time to do that, but realistically, that usually is thrown out the window if the customer is not happy. So if you want to save cost and time, develop all your screens, develop all your wireframes, develop all your logos and colors and fonts ahead of time in your department. And then when you work with a development partner like us, you give them to that development partner, and then they can wire those things a lot faster, and it'll save you tons of time and tons of money. Last question we always get is, how can we work together? We love that question. We are based here in Atlanta and Los Angeles, and there's our phone number and email. We've been doing app development and website development since 2009. We've seen all types of problems and solved all types of businesses, pain points, and helped them with their solutions. And with that, that is the webinar for today. I will be sending out this webinar later next week. You will have access to the grid. Also send some other updated materials that will talk about budgeting and timeline and so on.